Officer Pyre turned to the news team, pointed at Mercy Road, and said, "That's where they found the body." The evening of December 29, 1986, a California Highway Patrol officer named Craig Pyre drove his cruiser down Interstate 15 in San Diego, California. With him was an NBC News reporter in the back seat, and there was a cameraman in the passenger seat. They were filming a segment about highway travel safety that was set to air on the evening news later that night. A little more than 36 hours earlier, at around 4 a.m. the previous morning, a 20-year-old college student named Kara Knott had been found strangled to death in a creek right near the Mercy Road exit. Kara's killer was still not caught, and so the idea behind this segment was basically to tell drivers along this highway how to stay safe while they were out there. He turned to the news crew, and as they filmed, he began talking about the basics of highway travel safety. Specifically, he said, look, one of the most hazardous things that can happen to you beyond an accident on the highway is if you have some sort of car trouble that forces you to stop on the highway. And he noticed there was a car pulled over on the shoulder of the highway with its hazards on, so he pulled his cruiser over right behind the stalled car. He got out. Officer Pyre walked over to the passenger side door of this car, and through the open window, he asked the driver to get out and talk to him. And as the camera rolled, Officer Pyre asked him to explain, what's going on here? What happened to your car? The driver said he had run out of gas and then gotten stranded on the side of the road. And then he had left his car and walked to a gas station to get a gas can, but his car still wouldn't start. And so on camera, he basically says to this guy, "Do you understand how dangerous it is to have left your car like that and walked alone on this highway? Do you understand what a hazard that is?" And the driver just kind of looked at him and shrugged like, "Yeah, I guess so." After that, Officer Pyre called the man a tow truck. His car was towed and the man was on his way. Officer Pyre and the news crew wrapped up filming. And when Officer Pyre's actual segment aired on TV, it was a minute and a half long. It sort of hit all the high points. It showed Officer Pyre, talking about how to be safe on the highway and talking to the stranded motorist, because it was not a big deal. It was just a basic safety video. But there were a few people, when they watched this clip, that noticed something. And within an hour of this clip airing on TV, those few people were calling the police in droves to tell them, "We know what happened to Kara Knott." It would turn out all the clues the police needed to solve the Kara Knott murder case were right there in that 1.5 minute long video. What happened to Kara had almost happened to over 24 other women in San Diego. They were the ones who called police. The killer, at first, had gotten away with this until they were featured on that 1.5 minute long video. They can see there's a fresh cut over their eye. The police would follow up on these tips, and they would confirm that the man in the video with the cut over his eyebrow was Kara's killer. Kara's killer was none other than Officer Craig Pyre. Officer Pyre was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 25 years to life in prison.